So I'm sure a lot of the manifesting community will disagree with me, and I'm okay with that because manifesting is not one size fits all. This video, I'm going to be talking about why I stepped away from the law of attraction, why I do not apply the law of attraction method. I don't believe in the law of attraction, and I actually do not think that the law of attraction is beneficial for a majority of the population, and I'm going to tell you why in this video. So I'm just going to go basically off of Google, what Google says what the law of attraction is. So the law of attraction is that our thoughts and our emotions are a frequency that send a signal out to the universe, and the universe says it's either a match or not a match, and will send back our desires if we are in the right frequency. The law of attraction also states that our emotions need to be in the same emotional state of what we want to manifest. So we have to focus on our thoughts, focus on our emotions in order to be an energetic match to manifest our desires. So what happens with that is there's a lot of pressure to be high vibe all the time, which I find to be filled with a lot of toxic positivity. Like you have to be high vibe, you can't have bad days. When you have bad days, you shame yourself like, oh my gosh, there must be something wrong with me. I need to do this, I need to do that. And there's all this pressure that if I have one bad day, that I have gotten off the frequency, that the universe is going to say that I'm a universal match to receive my desires. And because that one bad day means I can't manifest my desires or my dream life. So here's the steps, literally from Google, on how to use the law of attraction. Step 1 is to ask for what you want. Step 2 is believe it. Step 3 is receive it. And step 4 is take action. And so a lot of times with the law of attraction, it's really rooted in gratitude. It's rooted in positive emotions. It's rooted in this idea that I'm not 100% in control, but I could be in the right frequency to receive my desires, right? All of these things, something outside of us, we don't have the power and control. The other thing that I really dislike with the law of attraction is we attract trauma. And there are a lot of evil people in the world. There are a lot of misguided people in the world. Therefore, they have free will to cause trauma for other individuals. So I'm a trauma therapist, and I work with a lot of individuals who, when they start to dive into manifesting and the law of attraction, they start to ask me, did I manifest this? Did I manifest this trauma? Did I manifest this abuse? Did my thoughts send a frequency to the universe to cause trauma? And the answer is no. Like, you did not do that, nor did your child version of you who experienced abuse also do that. So I'm not saying that we have to trust everything we read on Google, but if I was learning about the law of attraction, learning about manifesting, and I hopped on Google and I'm learning about it, this is exactly what it says, that like attracts like. So a positive mindset will attract positive outcomes. A negative mindset will attract negative outcomes. And so me being a trauma therapist, also working with addiction, working with high functioning anxiety, CEOs, you name it, there's this like disconnect that when you were a child, right, you're just an innocent child, that you could be manifesting negative experiences because you had negative thoughts. So it really puts this pressure of toxic positivity, which is forcing a positive lens through difficult outcomes, through difficult experiences, such as traumatic experiences, anxiety, depression. And so I really had to dance around this idea of getting on board with the law of attraction. So back in 2020, I started my manifesting journey, or more just being aware of manifesting, visualizing, and scripting. I manifested some really amazing things and really amazing experiences. And then in 2021, I started learning more just specifically about the law of attraction. And that is, again, like attracts like. So I was doing all of this subconscious rewiring. I have to keep myself as high vibe. I have to keep myself elevated. I have to keep in this state of consciousness that is going to allow me to attract what I really want, right? The law of attraction. So I was doing so much personal development work in this industry. And I think I've done a couple of videos, especially on how your healing journey might hold you back from living life. Definitely check that video out. But I found myself stuck in this identity that I have to clear every single negative belief that I've ever experienced, clear every single negative memory, in order for me to achieve my dream life. And a month would go by and I didn't achieve it, or a month would go by and I wouldn't have milestones. A month would go by and I wasn't getting any closer. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm staying high vibe. I'm manifesting. I've got my emotions in the prime thing. I'm ignoring my 3D. I'm not letting the negative thoughts take over. I'm releasing them. I'm doing all of this stuff. And it just dawned on me, would my future self be doing this much work? Probably not. And then it also dawned on me, I know a lot of successful people who are not actively practicing the law of attraction. And this is where I started to do my own research on the law of attraction in really successful individuals. And this is where it gets really fun and really exciting, and a turn of events on why you might be ready to be done with law of attraction and step into a role or an identity that actually works for you. I am a therapist and a coach, and I was working with really successful individuals, 6-figure entrepreneurs, 7-figure CEOs, 8-figure entrepreneurs. I was working with medical professionals, doctors, lawyers, you name it. On paper, they had the dream life. They had the house, the car, the family, but they were miserable. Like, actually miserable. They were crying in every single one of my sessions. I hate my life. I hate this. I hate that. And I'm like, but on paper, you've made it. So if the law of attraction states that you must be in a high vibe emotion in order to achieve a high vibe life, and I'm talking about materialistic things, that argument didn't work out. And then I was thinking about other successful people that I've seen. And I'm like, I know that they're not staying high vibe. I know they're actually really miserable and they hate everything and they hate themselves. Okay, what's that about? So then I was journaling and I was doing a lot of research and I was exploring, and I dove into self-concept. And self-concept is linked with the law of assumption. If I assume something to be true, then it will be. And I started thinking, could it be that easy? Could it just be the identity of changing how I see myself to achieve something? So then I started digging deeper on things that I had manifested, and I started thinking about them. And my primary emotion when I achieved those things was not a high vibe emotion. My primary emotion to achieving those level of things was not high vibe. For example, the biggest milestone that I had was paying off my student loans. Paying those payments every single month was so stressful. I'm like, every single dollar needs to go here. I need extra money needs to go here. It was really stressful. When I got married, it was really stressful, like planning a wedding, and I did a DIY wedding. So I literally did everything from the invitation to the flowers, decorating the venue. That was really stressful. When I bought my house, that was also a very stressful experience. And so I was thinking, I've achieved these really big milestones, yet my primary emotion wasn't excitement, wasn't happy, wasn't joy, wasn't bliss. It was like stress and anxiety. And I thought to myself, how did I achieve those even though my primary emotion was not a positive one? It was more a negative, like the stress is always coming, XYZ. So I achieved the manifestation, but I didn't do it through the law of attraction. I did it through the law of assumption. And I'm new to learning about the law of assumption. And I truly believe that if you are a trauma survivor, if you experience anxiety, depression, you're on your own mental health journey, you're on your own journey to success, the law of attraction is actually going to hurt you because your brain is different. Your brain is not only different on like a brain scan, but the way you see the world. Your nervous system is more dysregulated. If you have a dysregulated nervous system, your brain is going to see the world as half empty and not half full. So we can use the law of assumption to assume things to be true without needing to feel them. I can have a bad day and make a lot of money. I can be really sad and depressed and still achieve my goals. I can be XYZ and still have this happen. It's no longer two negatives combating with each other. Both can be true at the same time. I can cry myself to sleep and have a YouTube video go viral. I don't have to be in a high vibe state in order to cause a high vibe reaction. So the law of assumption is the identity that if you believe it to be true, it will come true. It is law. And so it got me thinking, what if all this time, what I needed was just the law of assumption? How can I get one step closer to believing that it's true, that it's going to happen no matter what? and I can just live my life through the identity that's going to happen. I don't need to worry or obsess about, am I staying in a high vibe state in the last 24 hours? Where did I fall out of alignment with my high vibe energy? And I know I've created videos on that, and looking back, I'm sorry for that misguided information. It felt true at the time for me because I was so in it. And now that I've stepped out and I see the self-concept is where it's at. And self-concept is, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as someone who's capable of doing it, or do you see yourself as someone who cannot achieve that? And then, of course, there are different methods to help you believe, but it's not about the primary emotion being positive. It's not about obsessing. Am I attracting? Am I in the right frequency for the universe to see what I need to get? Another thing with the law of attraction that I really struggled with is the identity of detachment, that I needed to detach in order to achieve something. And then Taylor Swift said in her interview, every single day she obsessed about getting her master's, the rights to her music, her concerts, her music videos. And she said it became like an intrusive thought. Yet she achieved it. There was no detachment. There was no, I'm going to trust that's going to happen. She was like, no, I obsessed over it. I obsessed over it so much that I needed my mother and my brother to go and have the conversation because I was so ruminating on it. And that goes completely from the opposite of the law of attraction. The law of attraction is detach to attract faster. Detach so that way you can have it. And she was like, I'm not detaching. Like, this is my life's work. I'm going to obsess over it every single day. And now she said that she obsesses over it, but in a new way, which is all about the law of assumption. That one day she said, I was going to figure out a way. And she said, the more I obsessed about it, the more I figure out a way on how to get my master's back, right? Re-recording the music, going on tour, having such a loyal fan base that nobody wanted to go against by not using Taylor's version. And so it got me thinking that there are a lot of people out in the world who are not practicing the law of attraction, but they're actually practicing the law of assumption. So I'm here to announce that I am no longer going to be partaking in the law of attraction methods, law of attraction videos. And coming soon on this channel is going to be more about law of assumption and how your nervous system and your thoughts can really help you stand in that truth that you are the person to achieve your goals, which also means you get to have a human experience, because the law of attraction gets really prickly around human experiences. Well, you can't drink because if you're hungover and you're going to throw yourself off, and it's like, what's wrong with drinking? If I don't have a problem with drinking, why can't I enjoy a glass of champagne? Or if you want to eat processed foods, oh, that's going to ruin your body's frequency. Don't eat the processed food. And it's like, but I really like candy, and sometimes I want to partake in candy. This is where the law of assumption is so powerful. We get to have both. We get to have the human experience and have the spiritual awakening of achieving our goals, knowing we are the creator of our reality. So I'd love to hear from you. What is your point of view? What is your standpoint for the law of attraction versus the law of assumption? Have you heard about the law of assumption? Where are you at? I know Neville Goddard is really popular with the law of assumption. And I just think it's a way easier way to integrate it, especially if you've experienced trauma, traumatic experiences. If you got anxiety, depression, rumination, you experience new emotions. I know me being a female, my hormone cycles every 28 days. And sometimes my hormones take me through a cycle that I am not in the high vibe state. And I don't have to worry or stress, is that going to set me back from being in the right frequency to achieve my goals? So again, I would love to hear from you on your thoughts of the law of attraction versus the law of assumption. And something that's really helped me on my journey of pivoting from the law of attraction to the law of assumption has been EFT tapping. Because when you look at EFT tapping, it's just all about regulating the body and regulating the mind, which are the two most powerful things you can do for the law of assumption. And the law of assumption is, do I believe it to be true? Then it is true. And the more we tap, we regulate the body, which regulates the mind, which gives us the possibility to believe it's true. We don't have to connect the feeling state. We get to just connect the mind and the body, and the rest come to play, giving ourselves more permission to have a human experience. So I'd love to see you in my own tapping studio, where there are new weekly videos all about regulating the mind, regulating the body so you can step into the identity of the version of you that already has their desired outcome. And if you're ready to see more law of assumption videos, then definitely subscribe. And if you liked today's video, hit that like button, and I will see you next week.